Following the previous session in which we were discussing the legal issues, we come to the next part of the intellectual property rights. That is another component of intellectual property right, which we are going to discuss in this session, and that is the third one, called trade secret. In the previous session, we have already discussed about the copyright and the trademark. So, coming to the trade secret. Now, the word itself is telling us a lot about this component. That is, secret. Any business which is producing goods or services, they have their own formulas of producing the goods and services. They have their own formulas and maybe methodology and maybe processing part, whatever they have. It is because of that they are established and they are standing in the market, and therefore on the basis of that they have the capacity to earn. And therefore this trade secret is the secret in any business activity or process that is usually unknown outside the company. It has to be preserved, it has to be kept within the company, within the business, because this trade formula or methodology is maybe helping them to stand out or maybe remain distinguished in the market and sell their product accordingly. So, the information deemed a trade secret gives the company a very competitive advantage because they are standing out over their competitors, and it is frequently the result of internal research and development, internal digging into the further details of innovations and creativity. They are working hard in order to improve your product, add more features to their product or more design to their product, whatever. But they are doing it through lots of hard work, through brainstorming, R&D, etc. And therefore, they have to be protected. They must be protected. So, trade secret, they may differ by jurisdiction, but they have three clear characteristics. That is, they are not to be shared in the public. So they are not, trade secrets are not public, not to be in the public domain. They are always provided, they provide some economic values to the business, because it is because of those trade secret a person or a business is earning in the market, is standing out among its competitors. And finally, the third is that they are to be actively participated. Trade secrets they can take any form. Maybe it can be the proprietary process, that is the procedure of producing goods, maybe the instruments that they use, the patterns, the designs, the formula or the recipe. For example, one of the very popular product, that is Roo Afza, it has been prevailing in the market, is standing out in the market with no similar product. Or another example is maybe Amul butter. So that is so popular and among the consumers, and they have their own secret recipe or formula to produce this. They have, the companies have, and it's not easy for any other company to copy. They try to go for R&D and try to understand and produce some similar products, but they are not successful because of these trade secrets. It may also include some practice by some professionals. For example, the lawyers or doctors, they have their own style, their own way of conducting their services or providing their services to the customers, which is unknown to others, which is they may be used to develop a company that gives an advantage, the advantage to those companies over the others in the market, or to the others competitors, or add the value to the customers. So all these things very comprehensively are included in the trade secrets. So it's a wide phenomena. It can be a procedure, it can be a method, it can be a recipe, it may be the way of doing the things. the quality of services provided, the pattern, design, etc., etc. So a very wide and comprehensive method can be. You cannot, put them in one single box that only this comes under as a secret. No. Uh, and therefore, these trade secret may vary by jurisdiction also. But however, they have the some common information, some common points, which all, no doubt, they are in a very existing in a very diverse group and variety, but they have something in common. That is the first thing is common, that they are not public information. They have to be remaining in the business. It has not to be brought out. Second, their concealment, it provides strong economic advantage to the bearer, and therefore this confidentiality has to be preserved and protected, which is done by the law. Trade secret, it is a very effective tool to protect the intellectual property rights of an entrepreneur. And here maybe it is, we can give some examples, very common, popular examples, maybe very renowned company, that is the trade secret. One of the example for the trade secret can be Coca-Cola formula. A very closely guarded recipe, which is stored securely in the bank vaults in Atlanta. Access to this formula is restricted, requiring a resolution by the company's board, and its knowledge is limited to only 2 employees at any given time. So see how confidential and how strongly preserved that formula is. They preserve it and they keep it in the bank locker, in a bank vault, so that it's not anybody can pick up and go through and copy this formula. And that is the reason why that Coca-Cola, since years, they are standing out in a very, very different way in the complete, at a global platform also. And nobody till now has could copy the similar product and produce the similar product. And therefore, the identity of these employees, and when these 2 people, they are so confidential that only 2 people, those who are allowed to know about the formula, the identity of these employees is also always kept confidential, so that nobody else in the corporate or in the company comes to know who those 2 people are, with stringent measures in places, such as prohibition on them traveling together on the same airplane, adding an extra layer of protection. So see how the Coca-Cola is preserving it and protecting it, that they are not allowed to travel on the together, because if something happens, one should be there. If something happens to any one of them, then the other person should be there to just find another person to share the secret, so that it continues with the passage of time for many years to come in future. So we can say that here, that the trade secret by definition is confidential information that is not widely known to the public, and for such information to qualify as trade secret, it must possess independent economic value, whether actual or potential, and confer a competitive advantage upon the holder. That is, if we just take back the example of Coca-Cola formula, the confidentiality that is surrounding its composition, and limited access granted to a select few granted to a very few contribute very significantly to its value, and the competitive edge it affords the company. So interestingly, we find that the concept of trade secret and confidential information varies across jurisdiction. That is, it is different from one state to another, or from one country to another. To understand it better, let us say that in English law, there is no specific differentiation between various types of confidential information. That is, the overarching principle is the preservation of that information that is not to be publicly known and provide economic value to its possessor. While the protection of trade secret is a common thread, the legal framework may differ, and nuances in enforcement may exist based on jurisdictional consideration. But generally, the trade secrets, they relate to different types of information, maybe technical and scientific information, maybe some commercial information, maybe financial information, as well as some negative information too. And so, after understanding this, we can conclude that trade secrets are those formulas which are to be kept secret or protected from coming into the public domain, because these trade secrets, that is the way of doing things, way of producing your goods and services, they help you in not only standing out in the market, but also helps you to earn your own revenues and profits and make you different from others. And therefore, they are protected through certain laws which have been explained here. Next is patent. Patents, again, patent rights are different from country to country. They are not similar and followed as one. For example, patent rights in India, they are governed by the Indian Patent Act 1970, which this Patent Act 1970 allows the inventor's exclusive right to his creation for a specific length of time. That is, only the person, the person who is the inventor of any particular product or service or anything, he has a certain period of time to have an ownership and for his creation for a certain period of time. Maybe the patent holder is generally in India, he is granted 20 years. 20 years for to hold that formula and to remain, that will be patented in the name of the company for 20 long years. However, in the event of inventions related to that manufacture of maybe some food items or medicines, that is pharmaceuticals, or the patent is issued for 7 years from the date of filing. See, this is related to certain number of years because of the continuous research and development taking place in our country, one after another. So maybe that same product which you are the owner maybe somebody else also who is undergoing the R&D, he produces the similar product with similar features, but maybe with some more added features or innovations. So maybe they come up with some better products. So therefore, after that period, maybe if somebody else is also entering, so the competitors are playing in the market. So that is to be kept in mind, and therefore time period is a lot allocated. So maybe food, pharmaceutical, or medicine, it is for 7 years. And to register, you must complete a specified legal procedure. There are various attorneys who will be who help or assist or guide the inventors with patent registration by supplying them or providing them the most latest requirements or up-to-date information which is required. In India, the patent registration, they can be done individually or as well as jointly. And in the case of deceased inventors, his legal agent can do this on his behalf. Or maybe you assigned your attorney, or maybe you assigned your legal, maybe some corporate lawyers to do it on your part. You cannot manage all alone, so they are also allowed. And here you have to submit or provide all the required documentation, all the papers that are asked by the registrars. Along with you have to submit these papers along with some application forms also. And the applicants, they receive the registration certificate only when it has been verified, and the verification is done only after the completion of all the formalities that are required. That is, all the papers, all the documents which are asked, that has to be submitted, and all the legal process completed, and then the registration certificate for that particular product is given. The patent rights are given. And in India, let us see the patent law in India, how it is happening here. The entire patent system and patent law in India are overseen by the General Controller of Designs, Trademarks and Geographical Indications. Actually, the General Controller's Office is the part of the Department of Industrial Promotions and Policies. India has 4 patent offices. 4 patent offices, out of which the headquarters are in Kolkata, and the other offices are in Delhi, Chennai and Mumbai. Each patent office's examiners must release their work as directed by the controllers. Actually, see, it is a whole machinery of people, or I should say the officials who are regulating this patent procedure. Because patent law is quite complex, and thus hiring a patent attorney is very important here, because if you just miss even a small or single point, it may create problem for you on the latter stage, and therefore you have to have the services of people who are expert, or the agents or the attorneys who are expert in this domain, so that there is no flaw in while filing and while getting your patent certificate registered. So patent law is one of the, and it is also most growing areas of the law, because it deals with the concerns of protection of ideas, which keep on in this dynamic world. These keep on changing, and with lots of R&Ds being conducted, with lots of innovations being conducted. So it is ever changing, and therefore this patent law is also ever growing along with that. So what happens here, that by preserving the inventor's right, the government ensure that people will continue to come up with the unique and fresh ideas to share with the rest of the world, so that the world and the consumers at large can benefit from their creativity and their work. So patent law of India has the most common feature, main feature, it is that it is actually the object of this law is to encourage the scientific research and in motivate people with new technology and industrial progress, etc. So they are, the fundamental principles of patent law is to be granted only for an invention, and therefore it is a patent law in India is a big inventive step to promote inventions and innovations in order to produce better and improved quality of goods and services to the consumers and benefit the society at large. So after understanding all these rights, that is your copyright and patent and your trademark and trade secret, etc., let us come to know and come to learn about the intellectual property rights in Indian context. That is how things are being followed and developed in India. Actually, among the WTO agreement, if we want to have a comprehensive picture, among the WTO agreements, the trade-related intellectual property rights, that is TRIPS, 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 they are especially important to entrepreneurs. Uh, India has amended its intellectual property laws to comply with the WTO standards, so that we remain competitive, and we remain at par with the global parameters also, standard also. Uh, but we can also see that the wealthy countries or the developed countries, they are still concerned about the enforcement of IPR laws. In India, intellectual property rights, including patent, trademarks, copyrights, and industrial designs, they are protected by well-established statutory, administrative, and judicial framework. We have a very, very comprehensive legal body taking care of this domain in order to protect the rights of the businesses and ideas. So we have a very well established and very strong statutory, administrative, and judicial framework. Well known worldwide trademarks have been protected in India, even if they were not registered there. Actually, court decisions have broadened the Indian trademark laws to include service marks, as well as the trademarks for goods. The court orders have been used successfully by computer software companies to reduce the piracy or to minimize the piracy. So, whatever comprehensive structure we already have, it is the court also that comes in between. In what way the court comes? It is when there is a dispute, when there is some theft or copy or maybe misuse of others business ideas or trademark or anything, then the case is brought to the court, and then the court has to take care of the case, dealing with the handling the case, and then passing on the judgment. And then these courts, their judgments are a way of suggestions to this legal body to how to improve upon themselves in order to protect the rights of the people. So, they have come in between in contributing to minimizing the piracy and theft, and computer database have been secured to a large extent, uh, through courts. So, under the violation of confidentiality theory, the courts, they provided extensive protection for the trade secrets. So, the right to privacy, which is not guaranteed even in some of very developed and affluent country, they have been recognized in India. There are strong case studies existing which tells us about this. Intellectual property rights in India, they continue because of such activities. That is because of the court's intervention and their judgments. The improvement in the intellectual property right is continually enhanced. In 1999, the major legislation relating to the protection of IPR was considered and passed in accordance with the international best practices and India's TRIPS responsibilities. Some of these, when in 1999, when the major legislation they were passed, they include some of the following points. The Patent Amendment Act 1999 was passed by the Indian Parliament on March 10th, 1999, in order to amend the Patents Act of 1970, which provided for the establishment of a mailbox system to file patents and accords exclusive marketing rights for 5 years. So this was a landmark, landmark things happening in Indian history that was passed by the Indian Parliament. The next is the Trademark Bill 1999, which repeals and replaces the Trademark Merchandise Mark Act 1958, which was passed by the Indian Parliament again during the winter session, that was concluded in December 23, 1999. Another amendment was passed, that is the Copyright Amendment Act 1999, which was passed by both the houses of the Indian Parliament on December 30th, 1999. It was signed by the President of India, and substantial amendments which were required as per the situations that were around, that was passed, and the Copyright Amendment Act came into scene. Similarly, a sui generis legislation for the protection of geographical indications, which called the Geographical Indication of Goods, that is Registration and Protection Bill 1999, which was approved by both the houses of the Indian Parliament on December 23rd, 1999. This was actually this legislation, which was it was for the protection of the geographical geographical boundaries and limitations of the for the transfer of goods and services that had to be defined. So it was done under this law. Then next was the Industrial Design Bill. The Industrial Design Bill in 1999, which replaced the Design Act 1911. So see, it was 88 years back. After 88 years, the things were replaced with lots of improvements and corrections, and enhancing the purview of that act or that bill. It was passed in the upper house of the Indian Parliament in the winter session on 23rd December 1999, and it is this brought in lots of comprehensive maybe improvement in all the design bills which were old enough or obsolete enough in the since last 88 years. And another one is the patent, which is Second Amendment Act. This was amended for the second time. So we did it in 1999, the Patent Second Amendment Bill 1999, to further amend and improve upon the Patent Act 1970. So after so many years, it was to keep the things abreast with the TRIPS, to provide the compliances with the TRIPS, which was introduced, in December 20 by the upper house of Indian Parliament in 1999. So see how these reforms have been brought in continuously by amending all the laws and bills that were already existing, and the moment they were found obsolete, or maybe it was found that we needed to keep ourselves at par with what is happening at the global platforms, we made amendments and we made changes and we improved ourselves, and presently we have a very comprehensive, and I would say that it is meeting all the parameters or the requirements which are needed at global standards, with developed countries, with the economies which are much more affluent than India. So we are not lagging behind in this domain. That is a very comprehensive and I would say commendable step taken by the Indian government from time to time. Because in addition to the statutory reforms that are mentioned here, the Indian government has also implemented a number of initiatives to streamline and enhance the country's intellectual property management system also at the same time. It's not only the rights but the management system. It is WIPO, WIPO or UNDP has supported the projects which have aimed to modernize the patent information services and trademark registries. So the Indian government, they are investing lots of money in not only modernizing the infrastructure, that is the patent and intellectual property rights offices or infrastructure. They are investing to modernize them, those buildings, those offices. but at the same time they also include several they work, they means they invest to improve the several other components also. For example, the human resource development, a continuous development and investment in then the human resources through maybe training programs, through conducting various examinations, additional examinations, giving them a better infrastructural support, and also strengthening them through computerization and re-engineering work practices. So the elimination of patent application backlogs also. So things are they are because we find that so many things are ever changing, and therefore to make your manpower more up to the mark, maybe uh, at par with others, to work with the more competitive skills, they have to made more maybe more pro towards computerization, and there has to be a re-engineering work practices, which our government is doing here, because all these helps in eliminating the backlogs of this patent applications and other applications. So many examples have been seen all around. For example, maybe on in June 1999, an update to the patent rule was issued to streamline the procedural aspect. So these trademark registry, they are also recommended to be strengthened and upgraded from time to time. In 1996, maybe in further years, in after 2000 also, 2015 also, from time to time we see that we find that there are so many amendments and so many improvements have undergone already. So, and further fortification of the registry is also being undertaken by investing huge amount of money in the whole complete system. So the main focus always remains on strengthening the all the intellectual property rights, their through their infrastructure, strengthening their infrastructure, maybe physically or maybe intellectually, or maybe through manpower availability and quality at the same time. They are spending so much, and with these efforts they try to reduce the backlogs of pending applications, and transferring and re-engineering work processes, appointing external examiners, etc., etc. So many things are done on side by side basis from time to time. So we can conclude here that in terms of enforcement, Indian enforcement agencies are currently operating quite successfully, and piracy level in India were reduced significantly, in addition to intensifying also. So we find that they have been improving uh, s- on and off from time to time, with lots of amendments from all the sides of building up and developing the intellectual property right into more stronger one. So that is all about the intellectual property right with all its components. Uh, Thank you so much, and we close our session here. Thank you.